Here's something I've never done before, and that is talk about the Game Awards. 2025 is the year. Welcome to Ramblings of a Madman series, you obscure bastards. In this video I'll cover my thoughts on the gaming awards in general, my utter disinterest towards it, RPGs named this year, and a very important topic about indies at TGA, or how corporations are lying to people about what indies actually are. Plenty to cover, so let's get started. First, let me share my thoughts on TGA. I don't care for it, but I'm aware of the benefits and the downsides, and there's a lot of downsides. Now that I've seen the list of categories, winners, contenders, and talked to people about the embarrassing things happening on the show, like that awful show Last of Us being inserted every chance they got, I'm even happier for never wasting my time watching it. Someone else, a company at that, is gonna tell me what the game of the year is. Best in the genre, best this, best that. Subjective as hell. Also, what are the measurements, who decides and how? Without clear rules and deep analysis, lists mean nothing. Also, every list is subjective, period. In the TGA case, a lot of agenda driven as well, especially in the best RPG category. This is my perspective, which is entirely subjective, but I'll share it nonetheless. It's gonna offend some, but that is not my intention. So it's your choice if you want to be offended or not by the end, because, as mentioned, this is an entirely subjective perspective. You can freely attack my stance on this as well, and it would be entirely alright, because it's, as I repeat once again, entirely subjective. It comes down to this. Why do people care about the Game Awards? Genuine question. For the trailers, you can see them afterwards whenever. They don't disappear after the show. Also, most of the trailers I've seen suck, as they don't show anything. People getting hyped on cinematic trailers is the dumbest shit, I swear. Even worse when they lose their minds over teaser trailers. Letters on the screen with people jizzing their pants over it, bloody hell. Like they know what they're getting. And adult YouTubers with open mouths on thumbnails pretending they are in awe of what they see, which is nothing in most cases. At least I hope they're pretending. It's pathetic to me, disingenuous, they are part of the problem, and every time I see someone's thumbnail with an open mouth over a cinematic or teaser trailer, I want them to choke to death on a horse dildo. Was hanging out with my mates and some of them play games regularly. One of them opened the Divinity trailer and the rest joined in to watch a video that shows nothing of relevance. 38-year-old bastards. I asked them, what is so great about the trailer? It's Larian's new game, man, the only response. Game might never even come out. Who knows what can happen from now till the eventual release date. There's no gameplay. So what's the point of these trailers? Story? No, because we don't know the full story. Characters? We don't know the characters. Writing? We don't know how bad, mediocre or good it is. In the Divinity trailer, the burned human doesn't die, but transforms into something else and kills everything. That same scenario has been seen in 70 different games. But let's scream from utter joy. What, did someone think Larian retired and won't make games anymore? So now they're back. They never went away. Look, I'm a cynical bastard, but I know what emotional manipulation is very well. It's one of the reasons why the AAA industry is a mess. Not including Larian here, as they are truly fantastic and I love their games. But goddamn, can we control ourselves until the product actually arrives? Or are we evolving backwards into ape form, clapping like mental at everything? Though I have to say that the only good thing about this show for me is that some games that I've never heard of pop up in some of the categories. Then again, I don't really follow the gaming industry that much when it comes to new releases, so it's not a surprise I got no clue about half the games here. A lot of the smaller games were present at the show, which I can respect. But then again, I don't know how good these games are, and I don't truly trust any awards show with fair analysis if they have Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 as best RPG of the year contenders. Or Monster Hunter Wilds, that is still broken performance-wise on PC while Capcom doesn't even care. Having such games next to actually great games like Expedition 33 and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a crime against gaming. I swear they just added Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 because it's full of agendas. Not that there are no agendas in KCD2, nothing major in my opinion, but still. I can recall thinking Expedition 33 was a bit woke, but just a little bit. Nothing that would affect the game negatively as far as I remember, but honestly can't recall why I was thinking about it at the time. Had to be a reason. Point is, either Expedition 33 or KCD2 are good choices for RPG of the year in my book, both great games in their own right. For me, I'd put KCD2 a bit in front, but both high quality games nonetheless. Who cares in the end? Some put Expedition 33, some KCD2. As long as you don't put Avowed or Outer Worlds 2 as the best, we're good. I respect Expedition 33 because of how unique it is in a lot of ways. Types of games we need more, original and creative. Still remember being mind blown after that story conclusion. Those are some deep writing levels. So I agree to a degree about the winner of Best RPG. Just don't let Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 inclusions in this category take your attention away from KCD2 and Expedition 33. Obsidian's games are there to fulfill the DEI quota in this category, just like both games are full of the aforementioned DEI. Perfect, right? Oh Obsidian, what in the bloody hell has happened to you? One of my favorite studios ever because of the incredible games they produced over the years, invaded by the pink-haired activists whose biggest negative experience in their life was someone assuming their gender. Compare that to someone like Tolkien, who witnessed horrors firsthand. Or to someone like Kojima, who did who knows what types of drugs, altering his brain to the point of being able to create ridiculous stories like Metal Gear Solid and games like Death Stranding. I still don't know what that game is about. My friend played it and he still doesn't know what it's about. But it's an experience, unlike any other. Look, I'm not saying that agenda-driven games can't be good, but I haven't played a fully woke game that's really good yet. Unless we count even the smallest thing and classify the whole game as woke based on small to insignificant parts of the game. For example, KCD2 DEI inclusion of super Muslim that is not even a historical figure, but instead of mix of two historical figures. I guess it depends on to what degree people are willing to go to call the game woke. Some might see even a hint of possible wokeness and immediately the game can be labeled as woke, despite that part not accounting for even 1% of the game's experience. On the other hand, some might justify and defend games riddled with wokeness like Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, Last of Us 2 and many more. There are levels to what can be accepted. I look at it this way: if there are some woke elements that don't affect the game negatively, like the super Muslim in KCD2, it doesn't matter to me that much. It's still an inclusion though, which is not good because it's forced to fulfill the DEI quota. If we remove Musa from the game, it would make the game more believable, but that is only for a small part of the game. Whole game is amazing, so that small part is not that terrible in quality that would affect the experience so much, despite it clearly being an inclusion that doesn't fit the setting whatsoever. Am I making sense here? I hope I have conveyed my point. That doesn't mean I have the correct outlook on things, just sharing how I look at it while still trying to be fair towards games. Because to me that's the only thing that matters in the gaming industry. Not companies, not people, not trailers, games. That's it. There is no doubt that TGA has an agenda and that contender spots are given to promote agenda-driven games. Unfortunately, DEI is or has become the norm. Personally, I despise DEI. It's disingenuous bullshit that literally labels people based on their background like place of birth, skin color, religion. Like some really bad figures from Germany and Russia in the mid-20th century amassing record-breaking numbers of corpses based on similar ideology. But people don't care about history repeating itself to a degree. Meaning assigning arbitrary values to someone's background without focusing on what is the most important thing, and that is the quality of the individual. Telling you, we are going backwards. There's another evil going on in TGA, something that is easily missed. Have to thank my Discord for helping me understand this problem more clearly and providing relevant information on what is actually going on. Maybe that's why it's important watching such a show, to be able to call them out on the bullshit. Corporations are trying to redefine what indie means. While Expedition 33 is not associated with any publisher, and I respect them for it, it is not an indie game. It's independent, but not indie. Having it in the indie category is disingenuous. It had a budget of almost 10 million. What are we talking about here? Why would they do that though? It's unfortunately another attempt from publishing corporations and companies to get their hands on something good and then corrupting it. It's not Expedition 33's fault it's been nominated in Best Indie category. It's TGA's, in cahoots with the corporations that know TGA has become like the Oscar of video games. So what is technically an indie game? Indie game is an independent small budget game developed usually by a few people max, that's it. To quote my Discord, actual indie games are something you don't see being publicized because they are hidden. Eventually there are some that are so good that they organically gain traction. Considering that they have no marketing budget, they can't even pay YouTubers to push their games. So YouTubers that have integrity give these games a platform to flourish, which is really good when it works like that. In reality, true indie games are rare. Strings attached come from funding, either instantly or eventually. Very few publishers go into investments without the notion to squeeze every last drop of money possible. You know how much it costs showing an ad of your game on TGA? $500,000 to $1 million. Tell me, which indie game can afford that with budgets from $0 to a couple $1,000s? None. What does that tell us? It tells us that publishers have gotten their hands on the indies, throwing money at them, which makes them automatically AA and not indies anymore. Some might say, well, that's a good thing that small developers are recognized and pushed. I agree with this. But then we can't call such games indie games anymore, because they had a manufactured push by what is widely accepted as the worst thing to happen to games, and the thing that destroyed AAAs more so than anything else: publishers. Question is, how are they going to destroy indies? It's not a question of if it's going to happen, it's when and how. First goal is to recalibrate what people consider indies. That is already going on through shows like TGA. Harmless it might seem at first, but remember that publishers are way smarter than most gamers and know how to change things superficially and subliminally without most noticing. Thankfully my Discord is full of people that know their stuff, and I am highly appreciative of the fact how they present their findings. There's also another thing happening that screws around with the indie concept. Developers from AAA studios leaving those studios and opening their indie studios, when in reality they start off with millions in the budget already due to various reasons. So far from indies as possible. Kinda similar to how I see the shift to TV and family-friendly bollocks on YouTube. TV shows like Conan, Kimmel, Fallon suddenly started being on YouTube with millions of subs instantly, while I'm working for 13 years and got 90k subs barely. To be fair, I don't promote myself and don't push my content anywhere. The information provided in the videos is the most important to me, so if it's any good, people will share it, I guess. Path of highest resistance. Well, I'm dumb that way and can't help myself. The point is, they all started with a large following already, same as the developers that left AAA studios to open an indie studio. It's just not the same as some poor bastard developing the game with no budget for 8 years in their parents' basement. Great thing about this video is that it comes out on Christmas, to spread some positivity, following the principles of feel-good content that I'm known for, where catering to feelings is the most important thing. Yeah, I'm a cynical bastard, but it's very easy for cynicism to become a fair outlook on things happening, considering in what a fucked backwards world we live in today. Happy holidays, everyone!